everyone, and welcome to the final episode in our Year 11 podcast. My name's Hope, and I'm back here again interviewing some of our students who are currently studying at the University of Sussex. And this week we're going to be talking about setting goals, both thinking about short-term goals and also thinking about your future. So let's meet our students. So I am joined here today by two students who you might have met in previous episodes. So Hannah and Tanzim, hello! So just to recap, Hannah is in her final year, so her third year studying medical neuroscience, and Tanzim is now in her second year studying biomedical science. So guys, are you ready for your first question?
Yeah.
Excellent. My first question for you both today is, thinking back to when you guys were in year 11, what were the goals that you had in mind for yourself then?
No, so in year 11, my focuses were obviously on my GCSEs and next steps. I knew I wanted to pursue subjects that I enjoy. So my goals were simply to do well in the subjects that I enjoy, but also to try my best at everything, which sounds a little bit cheesy, but so yeah, my goals were to try and get the highest grades that I could get, essentially. It was hard, but it paid off in the end, and I then went on to do some A-levels, and I did my favourite subjects, and I'd always recommend doing something that you really enjoy.
Did you have a clear idea of what you wanted to do after college or sixth form at the time?
I knew that I wanted to go and pursue a career in the medical field, so like either it being medicine or healthcare related. I don't know why, but when I was doing my A-levels, I really wanted to go into midwifery. I just loved everything about it. But when I was a lot younger, I really wanted to be a teacher for some reason. And I don't know why, but I kind of switched to different careers then. But yeah, and now I'm trying to pursue a career in healthcare or research. So I've been changing my mind along the way, and I'm still not entirely sure, but that's completely fine.
Yeah, and you've still got time to figure it out.
Exactly.
Anna, how about you?
Goodness, in terms of long-term goals, I think when I was in year 11, it was just to get to the next step. So it was always sort of focusing on what I need to do in the here and now in order to get to where I need to be in the future, and not think or not overthink that, oh, that's where I need to be, so I need to do this, and this, because thinking about all that can be quite overwhelming. So it's a lot better to think, oh, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then, oh, I need to go on to A-levels, or I need to go on to a college course or something that you want to pursue. So my long-term goals were quite similar to Tamsin's, as in like science or medicine or both. And yeah, but I realized quite quickly that I didn't want to be a doctor, so I then had to backtrack a little bit. So yeah, long-term goals always change, and that's okay as well. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I can really sympathize. Like when I was in year 11, I wanted to be a pilot. And then the next year I wanted to be a midwife. And then the next year I wanted to be a teacher. So I can understand how you can like go through lots of different ideas for what you want to do in the future. And I think the good thing to keep in mind with goals is, like you were saying, Hannah, like focusing on the short term, like what's next and how can I do my very best at what's coming up next, so that you can keep all of those doors open, because your long-term goals might change. Okay, cool. So thinking more about the here and now and setting goals for yourself. So you guys are currently studying at university. How good are you at setting goals and kind of like keeping to those goals?
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of winging it a little bit, but sometimes it really helps to plan. But I've only really found that to be helpful when I plan in like a week. So I can't plan too much in advance, because that's when I start losing out a little bit, and I'm not really sticking to the plan.
And so like having more of a short-term focus is more helpful for you. Hannah, how about you? Are you the same? Are you different?
I would say I am similar in that I have to focus on being present with what I need to do in that moment, opposed to thinking about assignments that are upcoming, because I don't have the mental energy to focus on what I'm doing at the moment, and what is coming in the future. So it's like, well, in order to do that, I need to do this. So I'm going to do this first and then worry about that, because there's no point worrying about something that's in the future. So yeah, in terms of goal setting, like Tamsin, I focus on every week and think, okay, have I covered the notes? Have I covered the reading? Most of the time it's a no, and it's like, okay, then I need to go back and do that. So and that's okay as well. So I think we're all winging it in our own way.
Do you keep track of that with to-do lists and then like just cross things off as you get stuff done, or is it in your head? Like, do you write it down?
I used to do it in my head, but I will show you. So what I did this term, because it is quite a heavy term, so I've written out a little table like that, and I've just done like if I've attended the lecture, if I've done the notes, and then if I've done the reading, and then my assignments. Yeah. And other students do like, what is the word, spreadsheets, but that to me is just too technical, so I just do it in my diary.
So thinking ahead to life after university, what kind of goals do you guys have in mind for when you're finished with all of your studies?
That's a very good question. And firstly, I'd like to say it's okay to not know what you want to do. And I think personally, this is going to sound really cheesy, but I just want to be happy and have a dog and a house, and that is all I want in life. But I suppose in terms of careers, like I've got some sort of loose goals, but I've not set them in stone because things can change. And as we've just seen in the past year, a lot of things can change very quickly. So I'm not over planning, but I'd like to go on to do a master's course, and I would like to do either a doctorate or a PhD. I'm not quite sure which. And yeah, then just pursue a career that I know that I'm going to get satisfaction out of. So I'm not going to wake up every day and be like, oh, I've got to go to work. It's going to be like, oh, I've got to go to work. That's good.
Yeah, I like that you're keeping your options open. And I think that's really important about having a worthwhile career. Tamsin, how about you?
I would say mine is very similar to Hannah's, actually, because as much as I have mentioned that I want to go on to do all these things, I really don't know how it's gonna plan out. So I do want to go abroad. I do want to do maybe a placement year to see how to explore other routes from my degree. Like I can go into different things with my degree because it's quite an open one. But again, like we've seen with the current climate, we don't know how everything's going to plan out. So just making sure that, again, Hannah, I'm literally copying your answer, but yeah, being happy and content with where I am at the moment is a major thing for me.
So my final question for you both today is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
I think that is a very tricky question because sometimes we have to go through the failures in our life to learn from it. So I don't actually know if I would kind of like that option, as much as it sounds very positive, but I wouldn't have learned so much if I didn't get like those U's at A level. I don't think I would have told myself to do better. So like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but just I think you learn a lot from your failures. Yeah. So just being perfect all the time isn't as pleasing, because I think there's a certain satisfaction that you can get from failing and then being better at it, like literally bouncing back up. So I think I don't know what I would do if I wouldn't fail. I think I'd cry, like because I'm not learning, because I think that's a big thing for me. Like I really want to learn and become a better form of myself. Yeah. I don't want to like stay the same.
Oh, that's deep. Great answer, Tamsin.
Very deep. Sorry about that.
So that is all we have time for today. Thank you everyone who has tuned into our Year 11 podcast and who's listened to all of our episodes. So before we let you go, Hannah is going to give you guys your challenge for this week. So Hannah, please can you give us our challenge?
Yeah, hi guys. So your challenge for this week is to write down 3 goals. A short-term goal, which will be what can you achieve by the end of this week? A medium goal, so what would you like to achieve by the end of year 11? And finally, a long-term goal, so what would you like to achieve either at university or even beyond that career-wise? And just even writing down the goal means that you're more likely to achieve it, so that's something that you can implement in like to-do lists or goals. So I definitely would recommend just reflecting on what you think you'd like to achieve.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Okay, thank you everyone for listening in, and I hope you all have a fantastic week.